So, as we discussed earlier, we started talking about Eldercare's impacts on the caregiver. And just to refresh people's recollections, I know I'm a lawyer, I've always wanted to say that. I'm not a litigator, so this is my chance to actually say it. So just to refresh people's recollections, in terms of Eldercare, right now in the US, 1 out of every 3 US adults on average is dealing with some type of Eldercare challenge. Of those adults, the caregivers are typically impacted in 4 crucial quadrants, okay? And that's what this infographic was created to show. So it usually, or no, they almost always impact a person in terms of their health, in terms of their relationships, in terms of their finances, and in terms of their careers. So just very, very quickly, quick overview, and we'll dig into this a lot more in a few minutes. But from a health perspective, most caregivers suffer depression. In fact, over 70% of caregivers suffer from some level of depression. 40% of that 70% has depression that's so severe it requires medical intervention or medications. We're talking about diabetes, high blood pressure, pulmonary diseases. Essentially, when we talked earlier about the cost to the companies going up almost 8% in terms of the company-paid portion of the healthcare expenses, this is why. And the long and the short of it is because people are so involved in caring for their aging or elderly loved ones that they don't have time to take care of themselves. And they're stressed and they're tired. They don't have time to sleep. They're not eating properly. They're not exercising. So it all adds up. And that's why the companies are ending up paying so much more for the increase in healthcare costs. In addition to that, you have the financial aspects, and that one's big. So from a financial perspective, and we'll just run through some of the numbers really quickly, but in 2018, the average cost of a private nursing home room was just over $98,000. In terms of an assisted living facility, a semi-private room cost just over $46,000. Home care could run anywhere between $40,000 and $80,000 a year. And I include adult daycare on here. Even though it's not a residential facility, when properly used, adult daycare plus home care can better serve the care recipient and substantially reduce the cost of care. But we'll get into that a little bit more later on. But even adult daycare, you're still talking about over $27,000 a year. So you're talking about some substantial numbers. So that's the second quadrant. The third is in terms of career, and we've covered a little bit of that, but in the long and the short of it, it changes a person's career trajectory. Over 72% of people have some sort of work-related difficulties, whether it means they're coming in late, leaving early, missing deliverables, less engaged at work. So that's a big one. And then, of course, there's relationships. Relationships, just simply put, eldercare challenges or someone dealing with eldercare challenges could easily put a strain on a relationship with your significant other. It can, over 40% of caregivers are in what we call the sandwich generation, where they are caring for elderly loved ones at the same time that they have children that are 18 or younger still living at home. So it can easily take you away from, or not take you away, but make you less engaged in your children's lives. It can also cause an incredible strain between you and your siblings. So there's a lot of different ways in which it can impact you. So long and short of it, these are the 4 quadrants, and we're going to dig into each of the 4 in greater depth a little bit later on. So at this juncture, do we have any questions about this from a high-level perspective? Okay, I've got a couple of hands. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Okay, you know what? We'll go with you, ma'am. What's your question?